Hello there, guys. Welcome to another episode of Rattler Talks. And today, I have a really important thing to talk about. Firstly, I have a coffee now. I don't know if I make enough decent content to actually, have people who want to donate coffee, but it's there, Who knows? Better to have it and not need it than to not have it and need it, or so the saying goes. I think perhaps maybe I messed up on that. English sayings aren't my bread and butter. Anyway, aside from having a coffee, which I'll be making a promo video about, I recently updated my study room, so to speak. I have a lot of stuff done on it. I think I'll take a picture of it someday and share it with you guys. But for now, it's a work in progress. Let me just say, I have a manga wall and a manga panel desk that I stuck together, made it look aesthetic, and as well as a shodo artwork. Shodo is a Japanese art form of, it basically just means beautiful writing. And someone in my school, there was a festival, and so I asked for a character. It's anshin, it means peace of mind. It's on my wall. I'll share it with you guys someday. When I have this room all set up and looking pretty. But for now, it's kind of a mess, so I'm not gonna share it with you guys. But someday you'll see where I'm recording all of this, and my lack of, shall we say, soundproofing. That's why I'm recording all of these late at night, so that no one can ever make any noise unless someone wakes up in the middle of the night and makes a lot of noise. Which, yeah. Anyway, aside from showing my IRL study place, whatever, I am also planning on changing, oh no, here we go, my mascot again. As you know, this version that you're seeing right now is my second avatar. I had an original one from when I was pre-pandemic, I think. Yeah, she was supposed to be a demon. I mean, technically this version is supposed to still be a demon, but I don't know. She doesn't look demony enough. So I do have a new character design. I just bought it, but I don't know if, firstly, I don't know if I can use it commercially. The artist who did the art, I don't think they're active anymore, so I'll have to ask for permission first. Secondly, I don't know if I want to commission stills of the character, because this character I'm using right now is from Pick Crew. So, it's free, commercial, it's basically a character designer or a dressing up game, but you can make a character generator. Why is it taking so long for me to explain what's supposed to be a basic ass concept? So it's not really customized, I just fiddled around and gave it a few different expressions. But yeah, I mean, I can draw my own art for a new design for a character, but it's kind of awkward. My art isn't good, and I kind of want a actual legit anime art styled character stills. But anyway, that's a future problem, so that's why I haven't been editing my current video. I have it on my Venn editor. It's literally there. It's ready to be edited. I have the intro, I have the outro, but the editing of the content itself, I haven't done it because I don't know if I want to use this character or wait for a new one or whatever. So I'm still on the fence about that. I don't know if I want to use I have a lot of characters, but you know, I don't really have art stills for them, so I don't know if I want to use them. I'm so indecisive. Woo. But anyway, that's all the real life stuff we can talk about. What I really want to talk about is the Dr. Stone New World season, the one where they're, spoiler alert, traveling to the source of the petrification, but they're making a pit stop to Treasure Island. Treasure Island is the island in which Senku's father, with his crew, who they were in space, so they avoided the petrification in season 1 that occurred 3,700 years ago. So when they crashed back to Earth, obviously they're not petrified, but that means like they're literally the last people on Earth. So Ishigami Village also started from there. That's the Soyuz is the ship, I think, or it's the program. I'm not really too familiar with space terminology. It's not even space terminology. I don't know if Soyuz is referring to the ship or to the mission, because I know like Apollo mission is a thing, right? And that's different from the ship, I think. Or maybe it's maybe the missions are named after the ship. Oh my gosh, I don't know. Okay, it's been a while. I haven't seen like season 1 and season 2, so any like mention of the whole ship is like completely out of my memory, as well as the fact that I actually read the manga of Dr. Stone, but I've only reached the conclusion-ish to the Treasure Island stuff. I still don't know the main villain, because I remember I stopped reading. Here we go again, because at the time there were no more future updates, and I tend to not go back weekly for anime that I've watched or manga I've watched, because I don't like to just read one chapter and that's it. Like, come on, man. I'm a very fast reader. If it's a standard manga, I can finish it within a day. So I don't want to like basically run out of stuff to read. I mean, I could be reading another, manga, but I tend to be very obsessed with something, and I want to see it to the end, and I hate cliffhangers, so that's why I don't like most of the, like, I don't like reading manga that doesn't have a lot of chapters, because especially like Manwha, on the other hand, it's more of like a visual than it is like writing. Manga, depending on which genre and all that, has a lot of dialogue, and Manwha, I mean, there's still like dialogue that's, I guess you could argue, is equatable to a manga, but if you read fast, you can basically just skip over majority of what they're saying, because it's all fluff text, and just get to the point. And I'm not one of those people who are like, wait, who is this character? They were never introduced, and they clearly were introduced in the previous chapter. I'm not that kind of person, okay? I remember characters even if I don't remember their names, especially if it's in their original Korean names. For some reason, Korean names just confuse me, because they're like 3 to 2 syllables, because that's, I don't know if it's, obviously it's a cultural thing, but it's also aesthetics. I assume, I forgot the explanation. I had a Korean classmate, so I got into Korean like naming schemes and all that. Like, when I discovered that they consider a kid as 1 year old at the moment of like birth, when you get out of the womb, that's your 1 year old and stuff. So yeah, Oh my gosh, my cat. Anyway, ignore him. So yeah, Korean names also tend to be a bit repetitive. Obviously, the characters could be different, but I'm reading it in English, so I see a lot of Parks and I see a lot of Hyungs, and I'm like, who is this different from the other Park? And I'm like, are these Parks related? And it turns out they're not. And then in other cases, they also are. I'm just like, oh gosh, I'm so sorry, man, but it's so... Is it racist? Probably, you know. But can you blame me for being a bit confused when there are like, you know, it's like 3 or 4 different Park. Obviously, they have like, Park is their last name, first name is different. But, you know, still, like it. And then I'm like, are they related? Is this intentional naming, or is this just like they're named Park, but they're not related? This is not some hidden twist that's gonna like smack you guys in the face and be like, whoa, they're family, or whoa, they're like, it's a tribe thing, a clan thing. So yeah, oh my gosh, I spent way too much justifying how much I can't remember Korean names. Oh man, is it even justifiable? Oh gosh. Okay, so let's move on from that before I dig myself an even bigger hole that I cannot get out of. What was I talking about? Oh gosh, I ended up like way off track. I was supposed to talk about Dr. Stone and my thoughts on it. But yeah, anyway, I was talking about the manga, right? And where I was at, if I can remember. It's like literally just 12, like a couple of minutes ago, and I cannot remember what the hell I said. Jesus. But yeah, because I did not complete the petrification arc, the Treasure Island petrification arc, I'll just call it that. I don't know what its official term is called, or what the arc is actually called. I am excited to see the anime. I totally forgot about Francois and like the captain. What's his name? Jeez, Ryusei. Yeah, Ryusei. Nanami. He's the captain who's gonna lead them to the new age. Like, how convenient, you know? Everyone, like, all these people in Japan with like specializations. I mean, I get it. It would be more difficult if there were no specialists in the story, because like, how the hell are they gonna make it there? As well as there'd be too much time for the drama and the failures. We do get failures in the anime and the manga, but it's kind of like a montage. Because as interesting as it would be to see every single failure and every single different variations of failures that they have in the story, it's gonna pad out, and it's gonna like, it's gonna take too long. The pacing is gonna be ruined. And although I do wish that they make it more clearer, because my dumbass keeps forgetting that, the time frame, because obviously they take like a couple of years to do this, or a couple of months depending on what project Senku has them doing. For example, the wheat growing. I was like, I'm not in agriculture, even though I love rice and wheat is a grain and all that, but I'm not an agricultural connoisseur, or whatever word you want to put. So things like how long wheat takes slips past me, so I had to Google that. Apparently it takes 12 days. So yeah, I'm like, is this how fast they should be looking after like a couple of days? Or like, how long was the time span where from seed to like having a few leaves sprouting up and all that? So yeah, aside from that, the entire time they were like doing the farming thing, I was like, oh geez, you should do that. I don't know what the term is, but it's basically a method in order to not like deplete the soil of its resources, where it's a cycle. So you have, for example, 6 plots of land. You don't farm in the 6th plot of land. You keep it empty. You let it like rejuvenate, I guess you could say. And then when the next harvest cycle comes, you plant on the 6th and you leave the 1st empty. And basically, like, I don't know what that's called. Rotational not irrigation. Irrigation's like how you structure water flow and stuff like that, maybe. Oh my gosh. Oh, clearly a city girl. I don't know any of these terms. I'm just using them willy-nilly. But yeah, I don't think irrigation is the right term, but it's something rotational. Because rotational, they're rotating the section which they can plant and can't plant. And also, I didn't know that, I didn't know, obviously, because I'm not into agriculture, but I also like the fact that some of the previous inventions don't necessarily, just get swept up as like, yeah, we already talked about this, no need to go into it. We can still learn new things, like, for example, the seashells being crushed to act as a to neutralize the acidity in the soil when they were planting, because that was also a plot point. I'm basically explaining everything, but yeah. As well as, I read a fanfic. Oh no, here we go again. But yeah, I read a fanfic of Dr. Stone, and I think I spoiled myself a bit, and not the oh gosh, now that I think about it, I spoiled myself. Sounds absolutely horrid. Why that sounds so disgusting. I'm gonna try and avoid saying that term, but yeah. I saw spoilers about a South American war, which, considering that Yuzu Hira, I don't know her name, but the girl who's in the handicraft team, she's the head of it. She mentioned wanting to go to Spain, and I was like, South America, and I was like, okay, well, that's nice. And then after that mention, I read the spoiler of the South American war. I'm like, wait, is it? I thought that it was just like a, personal preference of wanting to go to South America, but it might actually be a lore drop revealed and stuff. And as well as knowing about different characters that I haven't interacted with in the tags, because Archive of Our Own has like character tags, and I saw like a couple of few that I thought were OCs, but they're actually legit characters from Dr. Stone. So I'm assuming, based on the unfamiliar names, that I can reasonably guess who Y-Man is, because Y-Man was sending out Morse codes when they discovered radio and GPS and stuff. So I'm assuming, I'm not gonna say the name, but if my guess is right, it's like one of the 2 people that I'm thinking of who is Y-Man. But yeah, aside from the spoiler, it's not that big. I mean, a war is a big thing, but you know what I mean. It's not like I get any details of how they're going to war, what kind of like strategy Senku is employing. Is he gonna go the same way as previous war with Tsukasa, or is he gonna be more? Are we gonna get guns? I mean, we already had a tank, but are we gonna get more like I think technically they're like it's a mix of medieval to modern age tech that we're having right now. They are, as Senku said, industrial age. So who knows? Maybe we'll get industrial age weaponry. But it is kind of funny how, like, even in a new age where most of humanity is like stoned, war is always a concept that is inevitable, I guess you could say. As a political science student, that sort of like interests me. I can't wait to see how they will deal with that, because the theorizing about how they will, because they have a mentalist, right? They have Jen. So Jen could be like, is it Gen or Jen? I'll just call it Gen, so that, because Jen sounds American. Okay, so Gen is a mentalist. He specializes in psychologically interacting with people, having them be more agreeable or more likely to follow what Senku and the group wants, right? That's his specialty, manipulation. And in politics, that's like one of the most important skill a politician can have. I mean, charisma is nice, but most of the time, you have to be a manipulative person in order to get your self-interests. I've been studying political theories, and in international relations, we've been talking about how nations are, in some, like, in a realist perspective, nations act as unitary actors who function on their own self-interests. Nations, according to realists, have value in securing, defenses for their own nation, or if they are a weaker state, having alliances with stronger states. Because according to realists, nations will always be in perpetual insecurity. There will never be a time where a nation is secure. They are happy with the state of their defenses and their economics or whatever have you, when it comes to like international field or just like national level of security. They're always in that, like, we need to be better, we need to gather more resources, we need to improve, blah blah blah, and all that. And so I'm interested to see where Dr. Stone will take it. There might not be a lot of politics in Dr. Stone, because obviously they're a fucking science show. They're focused on showing us the beauty and the wonders of science and what science means and can be for different people. So yeah, it's obviously probably not gonna be talking a lot about politics deeply, but there is gonna be some politics. I'm gonna be interested in theorizing it and applying what I've learned in college. It's fun, okay? And then reading fanfics and seeing if there are any like more politically charged, I don't know what's the term you can use for like the fanfics, because for example, Harry Potter, because that's like a very major fandom most of everyone can get. Harry Potter has a lot of fanfics because it's popular. Even despite the transphobia and like just problematic nature of J.K. Rowling, there are a lot of fanfics. And one of my favorite fanfics in that kind of fandom are the political ones, where Harry Potter navigates the political fields of like the dark and the light side, what it's like to control the government, finding and gaining political clout with both the light and the dark side, political strife, intrigue, assassination, blackmailing ministers, that kind of stuff is my jam. Like rebellion, creating an organization to topple like corrupted a corrupt and inefficient regime. Those are like my bread and butter. That's my favorite stuff when it comes to fanfics and stories in general. That's why I like Code Geass. Despite its flaws, you know, story-wise, specifically that Euphemia one. Oh my god. That's like the one thing I have to focus on, right? But yeah, regardless of that, it's still a good show. I mean, you could argue that, you know, Japan is painting themselves in a more favorable way, blah blah blah. But and as a student, as a Filipino who, you know, had its country be colonized by Japan, obviously it's kind of, I didn't think about it when I was younger, but now that I'm older, it's kind of weird to have an oppressed Japanese nation fighting against the perceived imperialistic and Darwinistic country that is Britannia, which is just Britain. If they were, there was like a different king. I totally forgot which English like influential figure caused the divergence of Britain and Britannia, but I remember I can't remember who, but yeah, there was like, instead of this king in our reality, it was this king that got control and expanded a imperialistic Britannia. But anyway, it is kind of funny, you know, when you think about it in real life, like parallels, and when you know about like Japan's propaganda for wanting to invade smaller Asian countries under the propaganda of uniting Asia against the West and all that, it's kind of funny, but still, as its own, like, separate from our reality, Code Geass is a compelling story, for me at least. I've always wanted to find another anime like it, but you know, I haven't had the time, or maybe I have seen some like recommendations of like a Code Geass like anime, but it just didn't personally pique my interest, so I'm like, I don't really want to watch it. So there's that. But you know, maybe someday I will go back through all of the recommendations. I kind of want a more serious anime, like oh my gosh, my voice. We're talking about serious stuff like oppression, slavery, literally numbering countries and people, you know, colonialism and all that, racism even, even though it wasn't really tackled all that well in the show. In other Code Geass content, I've only read the wiki because I've only seen the shows, okay? I've only seen the first 3 seasons, the movies, and the Akito the Exiled one. I haven't read any of the other ones. Okay, that's not really necessarily true. I have read the one where it was taking place in like a older Japan. By older I mean like when they were still like an isolationist country, where they weren't open to foreign trade type of country, you know, where they were still wearing yukata, you know, like a Demon Slayer era, or earlier than that. I don't know. I'm not familiar with the Japanese periods all that well. I know the names, but I don't know which comes first, so I'm gonna avoid all saying it all together, you know, so that I don't say like it was during the Edo period or the Meiji period, but it's actually not. So I'm just gonna avoid naming a specific Japanese period, but it was around that, like before Western tech was introduced, I guess you could say. So yeah, but I have only read like a couple of chapters of that, and I haven't finished it, so I don't know the whole story with all of that. I've only read the wiki, obviously. And one of the characters that have like darker skin or like are black, you know, though their wiki does state that they do face racism despite being of Britannian blood and all that. They still are looked at less than. So racism and black people are still oppressed. Jesus Christ, not even like a win. Not only is the entire world, but they're also like, it's basically Britannia is a white supremacist Darwinistic it's Hitler's wet dream. Can I even say his name? Oh my gosh. I mean, I'm not even monetized, so what's the point in like censoring that, you know, censoring his name? And besides, I don't believe in like censoring. I mean, I guess to avoid like bots and trolls and all that, but I don't believe in censorship of names and slurs in an academic sense. And by academic sense, I mean to help others understand why why the term is regarded as very negatively, or is considered a slur. Because as someone who is from the Philippines or another country that isn't English speaking, you know, how can I criticize a American or someone who's not Filipino for saying a slur when they don't know what it means, right? They don't. And by slur, I mean a slur in my language. If they accidentally say it and they didn't know that it was a slur, or some Filipino taught them to say that word, because I know like a lot of people troll when they say like putang ina mo, that they say that it's I love you, but it's not. It's a it basically is like saying son of a bitch or something like that. So it's definitely not I love you. When you say bobo and someone says, oh, that means love, no, it's not, it means stupid. It's something like, it's just like, it's not a slur, but it's a swear. And it's yeah, it's just, I would not put the blame on a foreigner if they say a word accidentally not knowing the meaning, because in order to know the meaning of the word, you have to like know the word, right? You can't just like the R word. The R word, the hard R is a slur. You should not say it. And like, what the fuck is the R slur? Or what is the hard R? What does that mean? What is the N word pass? What does that mean? I mean, if you're like me, you were born with Western content. You have basically been drunk on the Western propaganda. There's no excuse to not knowing what the N-word pass is or the hard R, but for, you know, you gotta understand, people, like, hello, the world is very diverse. Not everyone knows what the N-word pass is. Not everyone knows what the hard R is referring to, because that's American slang, right? But if you live in America, there's literally no excuse for that. Even if you're a foreigner who lives like in America, you should know that. If you indulge in Western content, you should know that, right? Like, it's just, oh my gosh. Anyway, it's like how when you're talking about black people, you're referring to African Americans, not Africans. I don't know if all Africans feel that way, but I've seen some videos, not all. Obviously their views don't represent the majority of Africans, but like personally for them, they don't identify with the word or the term black people. And same with, personally, I don't like the term people of color. If you refer to me as people of color, I will not at all engage with you, because I am not a people or a person of color. I am just Asian. I'm Filipino. I'm not a person of color. I don't want to be associated under that banner, because to me it sounds like colored people. And if you don't know what colored people is referring to, it used to be a term for segregation in America, where the whites were separated against the colored people. And which is funny because the more I learn about American history, the more how flexible they are when it comes to who is considered under the banner of colored, right? For example, when they needed Mexicans, they considered Mexicans white. But now that they're like a lot and it's like immigration, blah, 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 they're now considered colored. It's just, I don't like it. It just feels like you're calling a spade a fork, you know? Call it as it is. Colored people, people of color. I don't care if you're trying to reclaim it. I don't care if you're trying to, whatever you're trying to do with it. It doesn't work. For me, at least. I would rather have people be identified as their nationality or ethnicity, you know? I don't think Jewish people would like to be lumped up with like POC, because Jewish people are ethno-religious. Is that the proper term? Oh my gosh, I'm really showing how much of a political science student I am. These are terms I should know because this is important for my field, but yeah, you know, personally, I don't like it. I've gone way off track, but yeah, as a story, Code Geass had a good run. I don't know how I feel about Resurrection, because when I finished Code Geass, you know, I was sad, horrified that my favorite emperor was dead, but at the same time I understood the importance of the Requiem. Not necessarily agreeing with it, but you know, I didn't like the theory that Lelouch could be alive, that he survived, and he was the driver in the, you know, in the end credits with C2. And Resurrection sort of like brought that theory to life, but at the same time they said that it's not really canon to the series. I don't know how I feel about it. I don't like the implications of the hidden country. Well, they're not a hidden country, but they're more like a mercenary nation, right? It's just, I don't like. They're a militaristic state. I don't like how. I don't think they were mentioned at all in the series. I think they were just made for the movie, so that makes it all the more worse. Why couldn't they have like added Australia, right? Why couldn't they have made it Australia? Is it because Australia is technically Western as well, and they needed like a smaller state to win? Because Australia is very big, but at the same time, Australia wasn't mentioned in the series. I think I have some contradicting information regarding, you know, whether Australia is even like a country in Code Geass, because if you know about the or obviously there are still gonna be the indigenous tribes in Australia, right? But in our nation, in our history, Australia used to be the place where British criminals were deported to or like sent to, and they ended up forming a colony, becoming a nation, blah blah blah. There's obviously a more complex history, but that's basically the gist of it. So to me, it's kind of, where was Australia? Like, did Britannia not send criminals there? But what about the Australian people? In some information, they said that Australia is a powerful country in Code Geass wiki. I don't know if that was fake news. It's been a while since I've like looked up any Australian Code Geass lore, so to speak, you know. And then I don't know if they actually exist as a country in Code Geass or not, or it's under Britannian control as a different, like, as an extension of Britannia, because I don't think we have. I mean, I've looked at Britannian maps, you know, but they're fan-made and it's speculation, right? And I don't remember Australia, even though it's a big fucking country. I don't remember um what they what um what the fan maps said for Australia, whether they were colonized or not, or they were like a neutral country, like isolationist, like Japan used to be in our reality. So yeah, anyway, that's like further, if they do like continue making Code Geass stuff, I hope that they include more of the other countries that we just found out about. Yeah. Aside from that, I don't really think I have anything to talk about. Oh man. I wanted to talk more about Dr. Stone, but I ended up like being it ended up being pushed to the side for Code Geass, because like I was looking at Lelouch stuff, you know. Once we talk about Lelouch, Code Geass in general, I just can't help but talk about like how much I love it, how much I can never do Code Geass, my love for Code Geass justice, but there are videos on explaining, and majority of what they say I agree with when it comes to like Lelouch. Kato, he's a very big YouTube channel. They talk about Code Geass stuff. I don't know if they branched out. I think they branch out as well to other stuff. But one of my favorite videos from them was the Lelouch Great Man Theory. I think I'll link it in the comment and the description. But that video, I don't know if it was actually from Kato. I think it is, because yeah, that video describes the theory and how it relates to Lelouch and all blah blah blah, his accomplishments and why blah 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 he's a good character, blah blah blah, and how he is similar to other great men in the theory, blah blah blah. You know, interesting stuff. Just obviously I can't articulate it because it's been years. That was like elementary, I think, or high school even. I've read that video. I've watched that video. So aside from that, that's really all I have to say. I hope I can make a video soon that's scripted, because I have been making the scripts. I'm still hesitating on the mascot, on the character stills, and who I want as my face for the channel. But for now, we can have the coffee promo vid that I'm working on.